Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and in this video I'm just going to call it Friday Reads, even though it's really kind of part 3 of my mid-month update. Yesterday I posted videos where I gave you an update on my Stackmas tree, which is right here. And I also did a video where I talked about what I'm reading for the Holiday Book Bingo, hosted by Sarah from Steeped in Books. So anyway, today I just want to go through the 12 books that I have finished since the beginning of December and just briefly cover all of the books that I'm still planning to read that I didn't already cover in either of the other 2 videos yesterday, because there's a few. So this is just kind of, you know, tying up all the loose ends, because I never really did a December TBR, and there's just a few things that I want to tell you about. So I just finished one more book this morning. As of yesterday, I had only finished 11 books, but this morning I finished Storm in the Village by Miss Reed. This was just another delightful Fairacre book by Miss Reed. More of the same, just idyllic setting, wonderful characters, some quirky, some delightful, some endearing, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And before that, I finished a book on audio that I wasn't even sure I was going to get to this month, and I decided to go ahead and listen to it. I bought this on Audible. This is book 3 in a trilogy by Colleen Coble. The trilogy is called Mercy Falls, and this book is called The Lightkeeper's Ball. I believe the first one is called The Lightkeeper's Daughter, and the second one is The Lightkeeper's Bride. I have enjoyed this trilogy immensely. The first 2 books I was able to get on the Audible Escape package, and this one I went ahead and purchased. I wasn't going to at first. The narrator had a couple of negative reviews, and I wasn't really sure I wanted to spend money on it, but I ended up returning a couple of things to Audible, and I had those credits to use again. So since it's basically 2 books for the price of 1, I decided to go ahead and pick this up, and I'm really glad I did. I enjoyed it. I didn't find any problems with the narrator. The narrator is Christina Moore. She also narrated all or most of the Elm Creek Quilts series by Jennifer Chiaverini, and I have enjoyed all of those. So anyway, this is just a really good trilogy. It's early 1900s, and it's not just Christian romance. The whole series is full of intrigue, suspense, murder, mystery, and I just thought it was really good. Another audiobook that I listened to on Audible, this was one of the daily deals. I got it for like $3. It sounded interesting. It's by Kate Northrup. It's called Do Less: A Revolutionary Approach to Time and Energy Management for Ambitious Women. It was okay. It wasn't really my favorite. My philosophies don't necessarily line up exactly with the author's, so I kind of just took it for what it was worth, and I might be able to glean a little bit from it, but it wasn't really anything that I'm going to wholeheartedly embrace. But anyway, it was interesting. So then earlier in the month, now I already talked about in my November wrap-up, the first book I finished for the month of December was The 12 T's of Friendship by Emily Barnes and Susan Rios. So go back to my November wrap-up if you want to hear a little bit more about that. Then the next book I finished, this was the first audiobook I finished in December. I had carried it over from the end of November. A Land Remembered by Patrick Smith. This was a fantastic book. I'm so glad I finally read this. I listened to it on audio CD. This is, I think, acclaimed as being probably the best and definitely the most enjoyed Florida historical fiction, and you don't have to be from Florida to enjoy it. It's really a fantastic book. I would rank it up there with Lonesome Dove as far as the cattle aspect of it, but there's so much more. It's wrought with tragedy and heartache, but the story of the family and all that they go through is just so compelling, and it's a real page turner. So I highly recommend this book. It is A Land Remembered by Patrick Smith. Most of the rest of the books that I finished during the month have been on audio, and they count for the Holiday Book Bingo. And I've already talked about those books in that video, but I'll just run through them really quick. From the same series called The Christmas Tree Farm Mystery Series by Jacqueline Frost, I read The 12 Sleighs of Christmas and 'Twas the Knife Before Christmas. Thoroughly enjoyed those. Then I read 2 books from another series. Also, these books were for the Book One Cozies Club. That is a club that's hosted by Di from Dice's 19 Hearts, and she hosts that on our Mystery Madness Goodreads group. So be sure to check that out if either of those books look good to you. Our this year's pick is Murder in Her Stocking by G.A. McKevitt. I'm really glad I listened to this. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much that I went ahead and listened to the second book in the series, even though it's not a Christmas book. It's actually set at Halloween, called Murder in the Corn Maze. This is a prequel series to the Savannah Reed series by G.A. McKevitt. Savannah is a child in this series, and her grandmother is the main sleuth, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's set in the 1980s, and I would highly recommend checking them out. Then one other cozy mystery I listened to, because this is a series that I want to really pursue and get through early in 2020, and that is The Coffeehouse Mysteries by Cleo Coyle. I listened to Murder Most Frothy. This is book 4 in the series. I am enjoying the series, but maybe not quite as much as some of the other small town cozies. This one's set in New York, so it definitely has a more of an urban feel, and it's a little racier, a little steamier than your average cozy mystery, at least the ones I have read, but still enjoyable, and I am definitely going to go ahead and continue the series. I have most of them on my shelf, but I want to listen to all the ones on audio that are available to me through Hoopla, and that way I can go ahead and move those physical copies off my shelf, pass them on to someone else, and make room for some of the ones that don't fit, or some of the ones I know I will purchase in the coming year. And so this is one of the series that I want to get to pretty quickly. Then I listened to another book that's not on my Stackmas challenge. I'm not reading it for the book bingo, but I realized that on the Newberry Goodreads group, there were some challenges there, and I signed up for one a couple of years ago when the moderator issued some challenges to read books that are Newbery winners that are part of series, and not only to read the Newbery winner, but to read the whole series. So I signed up for the Susan Cooper challenge because The Gray King is book 4 in the Dark is Rising sequence. This is a Newbery winner by Susan Cooper, and I listened to this on audio years ago, and even though I kind of understood what was going on, I really felt like I was missing part of the story. Little did I know at that point that it was book 4 in a series. So I knew that I wanted to go back and read the series, and a couple of years ago I did read the first one, Oversea Under Stone. Finally ended up getting to the second book last year, which was Dark is Rising, and I just hadn't gotten to book 3. Book 3 is Green Witch, and it's the shortest one in the series, but I realized that I could get all 3 of them on audio on Scribd. But I had already listened to one other book. Well, there was one other book on Scribd that was a book club book for December, and I needed to listen to it first. And Scribd will sometimes cut you off after about 3 audiobooks in any given month. So I listened to the one from book club, which, by the way, is also for the bingo. It's Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I already talked about this in one of my previous videos, so I'm finished with that one as well. Then I listened to Green Witch, and rather than going on and listening to the audio of The Gray King, I decided to read this one in print. So I'm currently reading it now, about a chapter a day. Then I will pick up the last book on Scribd, which is Silver on the Tree. I've got a physical copy here from the library. Silver on the Tree, because it's the longest of the series, and I knew that if I was going to get this whole series finished by the end of the year, I knew that I would need to listen to this one on audio. So the reason I wanted to go ahead and get to this before the end of the year is because whenever I realized at the beginning of the year that those challenges were not put back on the Goodreads group for this year, I had messaged the moderator and I was like, oh man, I was really wanted to finish that challenge. I'm sorry I didn't get to it. And she goes, oh, well, I'll put it back on there. So she put it back on there this year just for me. And then I messed around all year and didn't get these books read. So I don't want to ask her to do that again. I want to just get the challenge done. And so now I have finished Green Witch, and I am about a fourth or third of the way done with The Gray King, and then I will get to Silver on the Tree and be done with that series. So I'm happy about that. So I talked about the books that I'm reading for my Stackmas tree yesterday. Some of the ones that I definitely plan to get to are some of the Christmassy ones, like the Christmas Scrapbook. It's from the Harmony series by Philip Gulley, and also one story in this Christmas at Fair Acre book called Village Christmas. And now that I'm done with Storm in the Village, I'm going to skip the next two in the series and go ahead and go to the Christmas one. I talked about that yesterday, so if you missed that, you'll get my explanations if you go back and watch the Stackmas Tree video. Then one that I definitely want to get to for the bingo as well as my Stackmas Tree is A Patchwork Christmas by Kristen Eckhart. This is part of the Home to Heather Creek series. So what I'm currently reading right now, I started yesterday Ship of Destiny. This will finish the Robin Hobb trilogy, The Live Ship Traders, and that's really good so far. And I'm almost done with Signs and Wonder by Philip Gulley. This is so funny. It's just hilarious. And I'm about half done with book 4 in the Home to Heather Creek series, Homespun Harvest by Robert Elmer. And I'm about a fourth of the way done with A Gathering Place by Thomas Kincaid and Catherine Spencer. This book is a large print, so that's why it looks so chunky. But I'm not going to get any farther in this series this year like I planned. I think I'll do good to get this one done. So what I decided to do, just to kind of round out Thomas Kincaid books for the year, is I'll pick this one back up. This is a little Christmassy book called I'll Be Home for Christmas. It's full of paintings by Thomas Kincaid with verses and quotes and things like that. It's just a really pretty book. I think I've read it before. It stays on my Christmas shelf, and it's just a beautiful little picture book. So other than that, I've got a couple of other audiobooks that I'm going to get to. The Handmaid of the Carpenter by Elizabeth Berg, The Amish Christmas Candle by Kelly Long, Jennifer Beckstrand, and Lisa Jones Baker. This one is going to be for the Audible Escape Challenge, as well as, oh no, I'm sorry, it's not either. This is for the bingo. The Audible Escape Challenge books are Just Ella by Margaret Peterson Haddix and Amish Christmas at the North Star by Cindy Woodsmall, Cindy Woodsmall, Minnie Starnes Clark, with Emily Clark, Amanda Flower, and Katie Gansert. So I'm so used to saying Cindy Woodsmall and Aaron Woodsmall because they write together some other Amish books. So the two categories that I picked for December for the my Audible Escape Challenge that I've been doing with Sarah and others is Victorian and Amish. So if you want to read along and listen to anything on Audible Escape from those two categories, let me know. I've got threads on my Goodreads group for that challenge. And then I've got a library book checked out that I think I saw this first advertised on Goodreads, and I contacted our librarian to see if she would order it. It's beautiful. It's called Bibliostyle, and it's about how we live our lives with books. It's amazing photography with books in our homes, and just a wide variety of how people display books in their home, not just on shelves, but just in different things. I haven't really looked through it that much, but it's a gorgeous book. It is by Nina Freudenberger, and I saw it on Goodreads. It was advertised when it first came out, and I'll spell that name out in the description, so if you want to look it up. And then anything else that I didn't mention that I'm still going to read was either mentioned in the bingo video or the Stackmas Tree video. So be sure to check those out if you haven't already. I showed you all my current reads except for one ebook that I'm going to have to finish on my computer because I lost my Kindle and I can't find it. And that whole drama I talked about on a couple of videos ago. A whole bag of library books is missing along with my Kindle, and I'm hoping I will find them before the books have to be paid for. But I'm reading a book by one of my local friends. She wrote her story. It's a memoir of her heart transplant. She's a heart transplant recipient. It's called Don't Put My Shoes Away by Rebecca Marie DeRoller, and I will put a picture here so you can see that. I'm about 15% done with that, and I'm either going to need to find my Kindle or read it on the computer. So that's everything I've finished so far in the month of December, in the first 20 days of the month, and everything that I'm currently reading, and most of what I still plan to read for the rest of the month. I didn't mention every single TBR book that I still plan to read because I mentioned those in the bingo video and the Stackmas Tree video, so I hope you check those out if you haven't yet. But I still plan to get as much read as I can for my Stackmas Tree, and then go ahead and try to finish that up in January. And If I get caught up with all of the audiobooks that I have planned, then at the last minute I might throw in some more audiobooks while I'm working my between Christmas and New Year jigsaw puzzles. So there's always a chance that I will add in some more audiobooks at the last minute. But for now, that's all I have for this video. I will be back soon with more videos. I do have some giveaways to announce. At this point, I may not get that announced until after Christmas. I'm so sorry. I really promised that it would be before Christmas, but this is such a hectic time of year and so much going on that I will do my best. But please understand that I have to just do one thing at a time, and life is crazy. So anyway, that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. Have a great day, read a good book, and God bless you.